Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's Tuesday afternoon, and this is a very special anti-bullying week notices. Before I get into that though, just a couple of our normal notices. First up, any sixth form economics students who wish to attend a lecture at Eton this evening, that's by Professor Sheila Ogilvie of the University of Cambridge. Please email Mr. Carr or Miss Cornell ASAP. Uniform is required. Boarders, you'll depart at 8 p.m. from Brunel Herschel. Day students meet 8:30 in the Burning Bush in Eton. It would be great if that could be well attended. Boarders, Mr. Hayes has also asked me to let you know that there is loads and loads going on this evening, so please check the notice boards in-house because there's lots of activities on. It's a busy evening. Now, today, all of us are wearing blue to support an anti-bullying charity. This was Lois Clark's idea, Lois in Year 9, and she felt very strongly that this was a charity the school should be supporting, and I totally agree with you. The first thing I want to talk about is a few people have been asking, well, where does a pound go? Well, the overwhelming majority of your pound actually goes directly into supporting people, young people and families who've been affected by bullying. That might be face-to-face, it might be online, it might be via web portals, but ultimately it's providing direct support to people who feel their lives have been affected by bullying, not just the people being bullied, but their families as well. And that's kind of what I want to talk about today, because I was reflecting on what I could do to support this cause. And actually what's occurred to me is that I've got a personal story to share which I've never shared before. And that is that I was bullied at school. I was bullied from the time I was 13 to about the time I was 15. At the time, I didn't even necessarily call it bullying, and it's taken me a long time to accept that what was taking place then was bullying. And that's a part of what I want to talk about. The bullying that I faced, generally it was by where I kind of felt like I was always excluded from things. I was always the butt of everybody's jokes. It wasn't necessarily one individual who was always targeting me, but I felt like every time there was a joke, every time there was a victim, every time there was a punchline, it was always directed at me. And I don't mind saying that it really dragged me down. It left me feeling really vulnerable. It left me questioning my self-worth. And it stayed with me for a really, really long time, actually. Now, here's the thing with all of it. I very much doubt that any of those young people who I now reflect on and think they were bullying me when I was 13, I doubt any of them look back on that and think they were bullies. I doubt that very much because, as I've said to many of you before, the overwhelming majority of people who are bullies do not think that they're bullying anyone. They think it's a joke. They think it's just someone they don't get on with. They think it's banter. They think that the way they're behaving is somehow justified by something the other person has done. But it's very, very rare to encounter anyone, really, who stands up and says, yeah, I'm a bully, despite the fact that actually many of us do feel like we've been bullied. Now, from my point of view, I think when I was reflecting on this over the weekend, the thing that really scared me is I don't even like admitting that I was bullied. Actually, it leaves me feeling like, oh, somehow I fell, like somehow it's my fault. And I think a lot of bullied people feel the same. So at Holyport College, one of the things I want us to reflect on is the fact that, number one, we need to support people. We need to be aware of how other people are feeling. We need to know that not everybody is confident to speak out. And we collectively need to support those people. We need to call it out when we see it. We need to speak up on behalf of those people who may be feeling that way. But even more importantly, we need to think about our own actions. Because no bully really believes that they're a bully. Bullies do not believe that they're bullies. And if I reflect on my own actions, therefore, there's something that I'm going to make a change to as well. And I'm going to state this publicly and I'm going to put it on the record, because for about the last 3 years, in the notices, I have been ridiculing Mr. Hayes for being slightly below average height. It's become a running joke. It's become banter. And I like to think that I know Mr. Hayes well enough to know that I'm not really upsetting him. However, the reality is, I don't know. Even though I think I'm joking, it might be that I'm actually bullying someone. And so I'm making a public statement that I'm not going to take that risk in my actions. You will never again hear me make a joke. Go on, Mr. Hayes has got the camera. Turn it around and show yourself. He doesn't believe me. He doesn't believe me.
I don't believe him.
But I'm saying this publicly now that I don't believe it's appropriate for me to be making those jokes and setting that example. I'm going to moderate that behaviour. And I'm going to ask each of you to think about your own interactions with others and think, actually, is there anything there? You know, I don't think I'm doing anything wrong, but is there anything there where actually I might be really hurting or upsetting somebody else? I want you to think about that and I want you to moderate it. Not because you definitely are, and not because it's not okay to have a joke with friends, but because you need to be certain. So that is my pledge to you on Anti-Bullying Day today. I say it with Mr. Hayes in the room holding the camera. I say it to all of you. And I ask you, as we support this really, really good cause, to think about that for yourselves and to think about your own actions as well. Have a lovely afternoon. Year 10, you're due down in the refectory now for a talk on drug and alcohol abuse. The rest of you have a great afternoon. I'll see you same time tomorrow. Bye.